The video.
Like the feet.
Yeah, the feet. My life wasn't always like this, because growing up, I was fat, felt ugly, and most importantly, had it rough with girls. But if there was one thing I did, it was make people laugh. Whether it was intentional, like leaning into ugly jokes, or unintentional, like being the last person to finish my laps in PE. Being funny was what got me through grade school. But then I got to college, a place where no one knew me or gave me the benefit of the doubt. And God, my first semester was rough. People were snappy with me and would shut me up. They would avoid eye contact with me like they were embarrassed to talk to me. But I thought, well, I'm funny. I just have to get the chance to show it. I remember one night I was in a dorm with a group of, let's call them friends, and I told a joke, and I kid you not, one of them made eye contact with the others to almost see if it was permissible to laugh, to even acknowledge that I did something of value. And for the longest time, I thought I was just surrounded by the wrong people, and that I had one thing going for me, my personality, and that eventually I could be treated better. But after I learned a brutal truth about our psychology and how we treat others, I decided once and for all to lose weight. This is the story of that journey and how my life has changed since. So we all know that how people treat us often depends on how attractive they think we are. I started wondering if I could figure out how attraction works, maybe I could get the same treatment as more attractive people without losing weight. I approached learning about attraction through two ways: combing through hundreds of pages of evidence-based psychology, or by reading books from pickup artists. Trust me, stick with the science. Diving into the research led me to a model created by psychologists that predicts how we become attracted to others. It also showed that so long as I was fat, I was screwed. Here's how the model works. We all have things we want from relationships, and we judge whether people can give us what we want in two ways. First, we assess if someone has the capacity to meet our needs. If we think they do, it's usually associated with affective attraction, which for now we'll say is emotional attraction, but this is why if you see a cute girl, you might develop feelings, just because you think she has the capacity to meet one of your needs by being cute. The second way is by judging if someone has the willingness to meet our needs. If we think they do, we become behaviorally attracted. This is why when someone does something nice for us, we feel drawn to reciprocate. We see their willingness and become behaviorally attracted. When someone has both the capacity and willingness to meet our needs, we experience both emotional and behavioral attraction. When you see a cute girl smile at you, you develop feelings and also want to ask them out. But this becomes an issue when it comes to being overweight. I spoke with Professor Horton, a leading researcher of attraction and one of the developers of this theory, to explain.
In a culture that really values thinness, someone who is heavier might be off of the cuff regarded as less able to meet my self-presentational and romantic and maybe reproductive needs than someone who is thinner. And then sort of the affective and the behavioral attraction, the ability assessment is more closely related to that affective attraction.
So long as people have negative stereotypes about fat people to influence their capacity judgments, it becomes harder for them to develop affective attraction toward me. And affective attraction contributes to behavioral attraction, which means people would be less warm, less open, and willing to engage with me before I've even had a chance to show my charm or personality. Of course, there are other ways to gain respect and be treated well while being overweight, like being extremely rich or a movie star. But for me, the options were clear. Either become a millionaire or lose 100 pounds. I realized way back when that without making a change, I'd always miss out on a better quality of life. That realization pushed me to lose weight. Now, I had tried dieting before, but it wasn't until this realization that I truly took off. Over 6 months, I spent 2 hours almost every day in the gym, while getting used to endless amounts of chicken and protein shakes, to eventually lose 60 pounds. But after those 6 months, I just crashed. That initial burst of motivation faded, and I woke up to the brutal reality of losing weight. I mean, every day, I had to fight against a lifetime of cultivated dietary preferences. Suddenly, I had to choose between McDonald's and meals like chicken and rice multiple times a day. Then there was stress from work and school, which inhibited my decision making, and the nagging doubt about whether these sacrifices were even working or worth it. And each night, I'd go to bed knowing I had to do it all over again the next day and the next for months on end. What made it especially difficult was that when faced with a choice between a slice of pizza or a protein-packed burrito, it was hard to justify why I couldn't just have the pizza. Saying it was for my diet or to lose weight felt too abstract and disconnected from my daily reality. Eventually, I couldn't keep it up. In the 6 months after, I regained 30 pounds. It wasn't a complete loss, but it crushed me because it wasn't just about the weight gain. It was the feeling of stalled progress, of time slipping away from the life I wanted. That's when it hit me. I had been motivated by the idea of a new life, but I didn't really know what that life looked like, beyond some vague notions of being treated better. So I began reading and watching stories of people who had successfully lost weight and transformed their lives. Eventually, this became a daily ritual. Every morning, I'd immerse myself in these stories and then write out and imagine what my life could be like if I lost all the weight. Over the next year, these stories became my anchor. After long days of school and work, when the last thing I wanted to do was hit the gym, or when I craved a bag of hot Cheetos, those stories gave me a concrete reason to stick to my plan. I didn't make the best choice every time, but it was enough to lose nearly 100 pounds. And the best part? So many of those stories I read and watched turned out to be true. My life has completely changed. One of the first things I noticed after losing weight was that people were simply nicer to me. From a capacity standpoint, this makes sense. Without activated stereotypes clouding capacity judgments, people were faster to develop affective attraction. They'd smile, make eye contact, and laugh at my jokes. I remember being in a work meeting where I made a fairly average joke. Out of habit, I waited for people to glance at each other to get permission, but no one did. They just laughed. Strangers in general were more helpful, random people reached out to be friends, and finally, girls were interested in talking to me. Right before my 3rd year of college was when I lost nearly 100 pounds, and within the first 6 weeks, I had gone on dates with 6 different girls. I mean, approaching girls felt so easy, the conversations flowed effortlessly, we would laugh, I would flirt and they would flirt back, and asking them out felt natural, because I knew they'd say yes. But the reality of my new life didn't fully settle in until a girl hit on me. I didn't even know this was possible. All my life it had always been me making the first move and hoping not to end up as just friends. We were in... Wait, babe, do you want to tell them? Well, I guess you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jackie.
And tell them how we met.
We met in our social neuroscience class right before an exam.
No, tell them how you tell to me.
Okay. Well, you walked into the classroom and I thought you were very handsome,
Stop.
so I smiled at you. And then you sat down next to me and it made me super nervous, but I asked for your Instagram and then we went to coffee and then had a 9-hour date and the rest is history.
Yeah, so guys, if you want to make her influencer career kick off, her Instagram is in the description. I'll let you get back to working now. She was just here for the video. Now, my life wasn't always like this. Growing up fat could be tough, and I wish it wasn't. And I'm not saying this is right or that you can't be happy if you're overweight. I do think, though, that there is a quality of life that we miss out on. I hope my story can motivate you to want to experience it. If you want to know more about how to actually lose weight, you can check this video out and I'll see you there.